Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. The man in that picture you just saw is Jesse Spitzer, a career criminal who eluded police in Washington and Idaho last February for nearly a week. His attempted escape put the Cooney County Jail in lockdown. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk is looking into what happened and why the sheriff is pointing his finger at Washington courts. Kyle?
Well, the sheriff's office says Spitzer was alone in his cell. The jail wouldn't say exactly how he managed to get out. Sheriff Robert Norris says the jail is overcrowded and understaffed. He also says Idaho is feeling the effects of what he calls Washington State's woke policies, which keep offenders out of jail. Just before 2 in the morning last Sunday, the Cooney County Jail went into a lockdown when a shirtless inmate broke out of his cell. The sheriff's office says 30-year-old Jesse Spitzer broke a metal leg off a desk in his cell and then tried to shatter windows and break doors while roaming jail hallways. You might remember Spitzer, especially this picture. It's a face Rick Lagenza and his wife won't soon forget. Last January, they were carjacked in Wallace, Idaho at gunpoint.
I saw a guy come up to the door and I tried to hit the lock button, but I hit unlock accidentally.
And he opened the door.
He opened the door and put a gun to my ribs and told us to get out.
Their truck was totaled and Spitzer was arrested a few hours later, hiding in a camper outside the $50,000 Silver Inn. He evaded SWAT teams, canines, and officers for nearly a week across Washington and Idaho, breaking into homes and stealing cars, according to law enforcement. Once he broke out of his cell over the weekend, deputies used sting ball grenades, rubber bullets, and tear gas to get him under control. One officer was injured while putting him in handcuffs. Sheriff Robert Norris says the jail is currently overcrowded and understaffed. The county needs to hire an additional 24 positions.
Running a 24/7 operation, it takes a lot of people to keep these doors open 24/7. So when we're down staff members, it puts increased stress on everybody, and it certainly is a safety issue.
To the Cooney County Jail and asked Spitzer for an interview. At first he agreed, but then changed his mind after speaking with an attorney. In the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. A week after deputies say he shot a woman at the Red Top Motel in Spokane Valley, investigators say they've arrested the gunman. Joshua Seth is facing several charges stemming from that shooting at the motel last week. They include 2 counts of attempted murder and 2 counts of assault. The sheriff's office says it received a tip that Seth was in the area of South Geiger Boulevard near the I-90 interchange. Coming up in just about 5 minutes, we will share more on the arrest and the events leading up to it. Meantime, today we have received some new information about a double shooting in Airway Heights last night that ended up with Sacred Heart Hospital going into lockdown. According to police, a woman reported that she had been shot in the arm and that a man took off with a baby in a red minivan. Police found that van, but the driver wouldn't pull over, so police followed it all the way to Sacred Heart Hospital, which was then placed on lockdown. Police then discovered the man had also been shot. Well, tonight we know that he has been released from the hospital and has since been taken into custody for violating a protection order. No word on the woman's condition or her relationship to the man or to the baby. That baby, by the way, was not hurt. In Idaho, more funding for behavioral health is on its way. Governor Brad Little signed a bill investing $50 million to improve behavioral health care services across the state. Some of the resources include joining the new National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline hotline number 988. It's an alternative to calling 911 for mental health services and will go live on July 16th. 2 more bills will provide even more resources for people struggling with mental illness, including first responders involved in traumatic events.
A new type of display. The CCU is completely different, has a swappable battery, but the most noticeable difference for our riders is the dual suspension and the air tires. Makes for a lot more desirable ride, a lot smoother ride.
Spring is here, and along with it comes a new crop of Lime scooters and e-bikes for the Spokane area. The Wheelshare program launched its 4th year in Spokane today on the Gonzaga campus. Back in 2021, 450,000 rides were taken on the scooters and the bikes, covering some 400,000 miles. This spring, Lime is rolling out a new generation of scooters and bikes. The best part, they will not leave skid marks on area sidewalks. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word NIGHT to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Well, if you are traveling along I-90 this evening or early tomorrow morning, WashDOT is closing a lane on eastbound I-90 between Spokane Valley and Liberty Lake. The closure began at 7 p.m. tonight and is set to continue through tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the morning. The closure comes as crews continue the construction of the I-90 Barker to Harvard Interchange Improvement Project, along with the new bridge at Kramer Parkway. And as a heads up, speed limits will be reduced around that work zone. Well, let's talk weather. We had another day of beautiful weather across the inland Northwest. Jeremy Legoo was actually outside pretty much all evening long for Avista's Fan Fest. Yeah. Jeremy, how are conditions out there today?
Beautiful. Mark, it doesn't get much better. I'm kind of going, can I go back outside? But it's dark and it's over, so I'm here.
There we go.
Yeah. But it was beautiful, and it still is quite lovely out there. 43 degrees means it's chilly, and yeah, earlier I was saying, it's going to drop into the 30s tonight, and I'm certain it is. But, 30s aren't all that bad. It's not all that bad. 37 in Coeur d'Alene already, 34 in Sandpoint, and temps in the mid-40s in Moses Lake and Wenatchee. We are going to see, well, that's not the one I wanted to show you. Basically, negligible wind as we move through the next 12 hours. That's a bit of good news, but here's the one I was hoping for. This is the next 12 hours for us. Temps drop, but then as the sun comes up tomorrow, they climb. By noon, we are up in the mid-50s, and by tomorrow afternoon, we are once again in the 60s, likely the warmest day we've seen so far in 2021.
Jeremy, thank you very much.
Sorry, 2022.
2022. The years are changing quickly. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. All right, in your Northwest news tonight, with construction and road closures in full swing at Thor and Freya, now an influx of drivers are turning to Altamont as a thoroughfare. That increased traffic is frustrating residents who have noticed dangerous speeds, they say, along their neighborhood roads. One issue is the 3-split intersection at the start of the Altamont Loop, which forces drivers to veer into oncoming traffic in order to make the turn there. The second issue residents see is drivers just speeding along North Altamont Boulevard.
Our 9-year-old daughter's aunt lives just up the street, and we're afraid to let her go walk and see her because we know how crazy some of these drivers are.
Neighbors created a group to bring attention to the speeders 4 years ago. Since then, they have been in contact with the city and with independent traffic engineers to try to find potential solutions. Neighbors say they're hopeful for any change, including speed bumps, stop signs, roundabouts, or one-way roads. But the city has not implemented any speed control or pedestrian safety measures. There is a petition to bring attention to the increase in traffic, and speeders, that petition, by the way, has 150 signatures. Well, a petition to remove the Monahan statue in downtown Spokane is gathering traction online. The group responsible for that petition also plans to submit a formal request to the Spokane City Council. The statue is located downtown on Riverside Avenue. Organizers say the statue, which celebrates a Spokane veteran, John Monahan, continues to perpetuate racism and inflict pain on members of our community. John Monahan served in the U.S. Navy when the U.S. and the U.K. and Germany were battling over control of Samoa, and the U.S. launched an attack on the island. The plaque on the statue refers to Samoans as, quote, savage foes, and organizers say commemorating a war that was not honorable and destroyed Samoan communities is a painful reminder. Petition organizers say removing the statue would help move forward toward reconciliation and healing, particularly among the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander communities. Taking a look now at the ongoing war in Ukraine, the mayor of Mariupol estimates more than 5,000 people have been killed by Russia's relentless bombardments in the southern port city. He accused Russian troops of using mobile crematoriums to burn bodies to cover up war crimes. Meanwhile, today, the U.S. and its allies unveiled new sanctions against Russia in response to the escalating brutality. The new sanctions, in part, target Russian President Vladimir Putin's adult children, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's wife and daughter, and Russian Security Council officials. Turning to your national news right now, oil executives appeared before a House committee today for the second time in 6 months.
We do not control the market price of crude oil or natural gas, nor of refined products like gasoline and diesel fuel. And we have no tolerance for price gouging.
House Democrats unleashed on oil executives, blaming the industry for skyrocketing oil and gas prices. AAA says the national average for a gallon of gas is now up $1.16, up $1.29 from a year ago. The Biden administration has ordered the release of oil from the U.S. stockpile to help ease prices that spiked following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But Republicans squarely blame the White House's, quote, anti-American energy policies, like shuttering the Keystone Pipeline. Meanwhile, oil executives testified that, as you heard, they have no control over the markets. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. We are taking a look at the arrest of a man accused of shooting a woman at the Red Top Motel back on March 30th. We are back in just 90 seconds.